my goodness. Welcome to Talk Show with Elijah. I hope you're not wondering that Elijah is a man's name and there are two ladies.
No, you can say that again actually. Because look at it, many of the biblical names have, you see Daniel, Daniela, you see
Joseph.
David, Davida, you see Joseph,
Josephine. Yeah.
Oh, dear. Like that even sounds feminine actually. It sounds feminine.
So what would you call it? So
Maybe
Elijah
the guy
is
is
female.
supposed to be Elijah.
What?
or maybe
Did you just say Elijah?
Elijah.
I know Ejiro is.
Elijah also made this thing. I'm just kidding actually. It just sounds better, really. Like Elijah is more feminine as far as I'm concerned actually.
Elijah. Hi, I'm Elijah. Okay, I'm not Elijah. Hi.
I'm Elijah. Ejiro is actually female. Ejiro is a female name, so it could be Elijah.
And then Elijah.
Yes, and Aaron can be Aaron. or Erona.
Okay, now let's be serious. My name is Ibuku Bankole
And I am Fadira Faladi. We're talking about intimacy and sex, actually. Sex. Like, you know what I remember? Sex. You know what I remember? You know those days right growing up? Especially when you're becoming a lady, getting to the puberty stage, and then your parents are like, you're a big girl now. Don't talk to man.
Touch like this.
Don't touch you. That's finished.
You get pregnant.
Okay, so in previous editions of this program, you guys, of course, had seen Elijah talk about various issues on sex. We have a couple of them that I was really privileged to watch. We talked about 10 mistakes men make in the bedroom.
That's one that will interest you.
Oh, well, I immediately I saw that, I just clicked it. Don't mind me. And then I saw 15 mistakes women make in the bedroom. And
Quite interesting.
yeah, very interesting. Some of these things I knew, some I really did not know.
Some
were
she
like-
laughed and kept quiet and
Yeah,
later
because
laughed.
Buku
Oh
was
my
there.
goodness.
Because Ibuku was there when I was watching it too. And then she was, some of those things, how do you know them, Ibuku? You start questioning.
I'm led by the Spirit.
You're not
I'm taught of the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Yes, and I'm the last one in my house, so I've heard a whole lot of stories.
Oh wait, I don't get it by virtue of being the last one.
Yes, I mean, people tell me stories, I hear things, I'm the last born, I hear my older cousins have chit-chats.
I think I need to change my position in the house because I heard that. Okay, guys, today we'll be having a very interesting couple in the program. Yes, you guys already know it. It's just that the other person you don't know yet. This is going to be our first time on the program. So yeah, we'll be having a couple, like we said.
And I wanted to, jabber, but I choose to not. I choose not to jabber. But however, before we introduce our guest, we have to get our beautiful selves off this glorious set because this is where our guests will be, crossing their legs,
I'm liking this seat, though.
Please, would you get your ass off this seat as I follow you for back? Now!
Alright, welcome back from that short break. And as you can see, we have a guest in the studio. I'm still Fadira. I'm happy to be home with me. And of course, we still have our guest in the studio, like I said. Well, welcome, guys. Why is he looking down? Are you guys shy?
He shouldn't be shy.
Okay.
Camera shy.
Okay, I agree. She is camera shy, but for him, I don't understand. He has been doing this for a while, like.
So he's helping her to be shy. He's assisting her in her shyness.
Okay, guys, yes, we have Mr. and Mrs Elijah Tanimola. I was about to say Elijah.
Elijah and Elijah.
Can you just allow us to call one of you Elijah?
No, I would prefer the Elijah.
Okay. Mr.
Which one is Elijah? Where did you get
No,
that
the
from?
feminine part.
Yes.
Like
Ah.
just
Sure, we
just
brought in the family part.
Okay.
Elijah.
Elijah.
Ah, okay.
Many biblical names have both, like, both genders.
I hope you have
So,
a meaning for that, Elijah.
the originator would explain further.
Okay, on the program today, like I said earlier, we'll be having sex talk, intimacy, issues bordering on intimacy for the singles, and of course for the married. Well, when we say sex talk for the singles, don't think too far. Actually, we're not talking about having sex among singles, really. We're just talking about some of the issues that we border around sex for single people, right? So over the week, we have been able to gather questions for the program from the audience, from people who have questions that have been bothering their minds. They sent in their questions, as well as frequently asked questions. So, guys, once again, I'd like you to welcome with me
Drum roll.
Mr. and Mrs Elijah Tanimola.
Yeah.
So, guys, I've been watching the previous edition of this program,
Alright.
and trust me, I've learned a lot.
She has. Trust me, she has.
Because you wouldn't bear me witness because she was there while I was watching. At a point, there were some points I saw, and I'll be like, "What?" People will say, "Yeah." I'm like, "How do you know this, babe?"
People they
I'm
have
fast. As a mass communicator, you're supposed to be knowledgeable about, everything.
Oh,
yeah.
Something about everything.
Hope it's just knowledge.
Knowledge. I mean, who says it has to be my experience? Anyways, I mean, I learn from people.
Why did you have to insist on what is done?
No.
Or because you're single ladies? Well,
Yeah.
because you're single ladies.
I'm just trying to
let's keep that one under the
clarify.
wrap.
Let's just.
Yeah.
But then, before we even go into what we have for today,
Alright.
there was something you said that I had to. I'm sorry, I had to bring this in now, and I think it was where you were talking about. While I think the 15 mistakes women make.
Okay.
Yeah, 15 mistakes women make. And there was a particular point you dropped where you said some women find it very hard to, or some women feel like mourning during sex is, I don't know, they don't do it even if they want to because
They're afraid of their partners thinking, how do you learn this one? Or how do you know those things?
No, really, it sounded awkward because I'm like, she's going to mourn, she's supposed to.
Like, it's supposed to be reflex.
It's a reflex thing. Like, how do you hold that dream?
It's okay. You want to person
She had to laugh.
I think it's a female thing. We are born to be, or we are instilled to be conscious of the environment, especially if you have neighbors.
Oh.
What kind of ringtone is this? You get the gist.
Yes.
Am I not sounding too much? Is it not feeling like I'm the? Am I not?
Like, if you're enjoying it, shout now, or scream, or whatever you need to do at that point, or laugh. Whatever it is, do it.
It is easy, my dear. You will get
Easier
there.
said than done, right?
I think one of the challenges is the society.
Yeah.
You know, our society will believe that such things, the people don't even have this idea that these people are married.
Okay.
So the society has actually configured the female gender to think that they can't express their sexual needs. So a lot of women grew up like that. So by growing up like that, they believe that they have to be reserved about their sexuality. So they transfer that same mentality into their marriage. So they are conscious of everything around. Take for instance, we are working with a guy now. People are thinking, oh, that guy is the wrong girl and things like that. But they won't talk about the guy. It's like a normal thing for the guy. Even if the guy is changing ladies every now and then, just a playboy, it's normal for the guy. But for the girl, there's a look that they give to you that you don't want, really. So when you are into the marriage and you bring that same mentality, then you are conscious of the fact that, oh, my neighbors will say I'm too rash, I'm not too sad, and things like that. And anyway, there are some tones that, when you eat the right spots.
Yes, like eat the right spots.
You know, when I saw that particular point, and I was like, why does she have? People made a point that I feel maybe that's part of the reason.
Yeah.
She was like, well, sometimes these women get scared to actually express themselves because they feel like maybe the husband will feel that they've been sluts before. And
Yeah,
start
yeah,
to
yeah.
imagine how
Yeah.
many guys they have slept with.
Definitely.
Definitely. That one is okay. I think we read a story of a guy that was saying he doesn't want his wife to mourn during sex, that she should be singing Amazing Grace.
Oh
You read that story now?
You heard, and actually,
I didn't hear
No,
it.
I'm just
it was,
imagining.
we actually tried it.
Goodness.
Right? But I was like, how do you start singing Amazing Grace?
But really, what I concluded was that, that their sexual life must have been pre-programmed.
Okay.
You get it now. Now, and it's not the real sex. It's not the real sexual activity that should be. Because how can you really be
Amazing
horny
Grace.
and you are eating your orgasm and you are singing Amazing
Amazing
Grace? The
Grace.
tongue will not go.
No, okay, pass me not.
Oh, gents.
Which I don't even. Then actually, with the question, now I want to just give an illustration. If a guy and a lady, you hear the ringtone of a lady and a guy or whatever, the following morning the lady is coming out, you're looking at her like, like mama, like
Well done.
well done. But when the guy is coming out, the kind of
Confidence.
Yeah.
Yes.
we are looking at him like he did the work, but you are looking at the lady like,
Oh, what for you?
Oh, there's more around.
So it's kind of
It demeans the woman.
exactly.
So it's better for her to just lower
Just
her.
swallow.
It's swallow.
But I
But
advise
yeah.
people really. Advise them if you can't really make the tone loud, really, you can actually improvise.
Improvise, yeah.
Improvise with what? Let me guess. Like you
Facial
have
expressions
an
or what?
equipment where you pass the sound.
No.
You just
no.
cover the sound.
You
With
cover the then you
With
cover
good
the
music.
music
Okay,
that
I'm
should be
picturing-
louder than your own.
So you can get a sound system or even play music on your phone.
No wonder.
A danceable music.
Those times when you're like, like what's going on? Why is this music so loud?
So the real sound
Is already covered.
we will be covered. People will not hear the real sound. It's only your husband that will be hearing the real sound. Because that sound is also a motivator
Exactly
for the
now.
husband. The husband is feeling like, oh,
I'm doing it.
Okay, guys. Let's quickly get down to what we have for today.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, there were a couple of questions that dropped, and the first one says, now since this is the single segment, like we said earlier, we're going to be dealing with just questions from the singles.
Okay.
Now the first one says, what steps can I take to save sex for marriage? As a Christian, what are the steps to take?
Steps to take to
Save sex for marriage.
Save it for
okay
marriage.
to
Save it for
Okay,
marriage.
okay, like to
First,
abstain from sex
to
before
abstain
marriage.
from sex.
Yes.
I believe that there are quite a number of steps you can take, really, because one of the things is you must first have it in your mind that I want to serve myself. That should be the first decision. And from experience, I found out that if you have that determination, it goes a long way.
Yeah.
But it's not enough. Because there are situations you find yourself that determination will fail you. I've been there.
Hallelujah.
So the point is, at that moment, what will keep you going is not the determination now, it's a grace that keeps you from going into it. What I mean by that grace is that, anyway, I don't want to sound ambiguous. That grace is not like, God knows our hearts, knows what we really want. So at times when we are sleeping, He has a way of bringing us back, even when we are at our weakest points. You get what I'm trying to. So God knows that, it's not something you want to do and things like that. Another thing is create fence around yourself. What I mean by fence? Don't put yourself in positions that will make you compromise your faith, your standard, the things you have set for yourself. Take for instance, you know that you are weak beside the opposite sex, especially when there's nobody around. Then don't try it. Meet in a public place. Have your date in a public place and things like that. And also, just putting strategies around saving yourself from falling into that temptation, because the temptation will surely come.
So that means it's safe to. It's just better not to meet in private places.
No.
Depends
It
on
depends on what you can just know
Handle.
yourself.
Okay.
Just
know yourself. That's it. At a time, I don't know if I should bring this up. It was so strict to it that at a time in our relationship, he said no hugging.
What?
Yes,
No hugging?
as in that was the height of it. I remember that I called a friend of mine that time. Like, you want to shame me? What? Like it, I was really angry. The thing was vexing me. Like, we are not doing anything. Hugging like ordinary. I was. It was so annoying. But later, I now sat down, thought about it. I was like, you know what? And I'm the hugging type. I'm
You're very
the touchy.
Yeah.
How would I not be going out with someone who tell me no hugging? What we have been hugging before. But at the time, I had to just sit down like, okay, at this point in time, maybe this is the step
is
needed.
needed.
So
No, it wasn't like she said. It wasn't our street. Anyway, our street. Anyway.
it was strict.
But the point is that hugging part. There's nothing wrong with hugging, just to greet yourself. But I was sincere with myself. You know, at the point we were hugging for, like she said, if we see ourselves, anyway, we had a long distance relationship. So anytime we see ourselves, when we see ourselves, we hug to greet each other. But at a point, I noticed that I was getting more emotionally weak, to the point that if I'm calling her on phone, I'm having a lecture. And I feel like, okay, this boy, it seems like something is happening around here. Now, it's not that I was thinking about sex, but we are now emotionally so connected that thing is happening. So I knew that if I want to help myself, the Bible says flee. The Bible didn't say wait and speak in tongues. So I told myself, okay, if I'm having erection just talking on the phone, then the hugging might be dangerous. So I said, okay, no hugging. This is the reason don't let's compromise the standard we have set for ourselves. So we started shaking hands. It sounded awkward.
It was awkward.
But
It was really awkward.
but that's safe down.
I can't just imagine it. Hey, baby.
You know, like it. I don't know, like
Better imagined, right?
no, don't even.
You know, a lot of
Like-
people, a lot of Christians, you find out that a spiritual brother, a spiritual sister, they fall into sexual sin, and you wonder why. These are really anointed people. But it's not that they wanted it, it's just that they couldn't recognize the point in time when they have become so weak and vulnerable. The things they used to do that was nothing before. Now, at this
Emotional
point,
attachment.
yeah, you get it.
Ordinary
so they are now
touch.
getting so emotionally attached and things like that, and they
You
feel
recognize it.
it's still normal until they fall into the sun. So it's just sincerity.
All right. Wow. So the next question we have here is, how do I know if I will be sexually compatible with my future spouse if we wait to have sex?
How did you know you were the toilet
No, because I think this particular question is stemming from, I think it's a thought a lot of single people have.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get married, you have so much expectations,
Just
and
get
then
there.
you just get there, like,
How fun,
This is this.
how old is
like what is this?
A
Because
lot of people.
of recent, I got to understand that there is this thing called sexual compatibility. And I remember a story a friend of mine was telling me, a colleague of mine, he said two people in his church got married and they've not been able to have sex because maybe the lady always complains of pain, she's too tired or something. She got married as a virgin and they have not been able to do anything about it for about 4 months. They have not had sex, and the guy was already losing it. You get now, to avoid such situations, I had to bring that story to paint what this person is probably trying to say. So to avoid such situations or similar situations, how do you how can you tell compatibility before you go in?
Okay, as a female, I knew how to test for him.
You need to broadcast that.
Okay. Now, before we got married, my brother, my elder brother said, Tola, I hope you know what you are doing because I know that you will want to keep to the blah, blah, blah. And I once had a situation with a friend that by the time they got married, the husband was impotent, like it was not even rising. And they were like praying for fruit of the womb for them, and they were not having anything. So at that point, a lot of things were coming in. So the first thing was, I think he came to Ilorin that time. The first thing first, I started checking.
Oh my
Does
goodness.
this thing rise at all? I God.
Oh,
Okay, now I get to
Wait,
find out
wait.
if it is working.
If it is
So
working,
if it's working, you will find compatibility. Waju, abi?
I
Later.
believe that by the time the rest is easy to be learned, read upon, other things can be worked upon.
okay.
Not everybody, you understand? But the first thing first is the
Is it
gross
functional?
Is it
function. You get it? So I have to like by touching, okay, you check small, okay. I think there is a change. But I hope my mom will
Okay, so you touch his leg and then.
different
Just
things,
different
oh no,
things.
different. Don't let me mention.
Okay, that's
But the
hilarious.
first thing first is I wanted to be sure like bros is working. So when that one is done, I know other things can be learned. And I was kind of exposed book wise. I'm the novel type.
Okay.
Like I'm the
Reels and bones,
Miss-
all those love
yes,
books.
Harley Quinn. I had to stop at a time though. But I already have
Knowledge.
knowledge of, and I was exposed at a very, very young age. I might not have actually done the experiment but I had this kind of what I wanted to look like. So the first thing first is that one. Others can be learned. And thank God, he himself, he started working at it. He worked on himself also. He was knowledgeable about many things. But
Coming into marriage.
yes, but not the sex thing. So I think it was something he personally worked upon also.
Yeah, okay. I think what she said is primary, really. It's primary, so that you won't need a shocker when you get married.
Wisdom is profitable.
Several tests can do that.
Although at the
Tests.
same time, I believe that is deception.
Yes. If the person is aware,
Aware.
guys should be aware that
Yeah.
if a guy is impotent, he would know he's impotent.
We should.
Yes, exactly. And if a lady does not have
We
an
should know.
opening,
We should know.
have you heard of that story before of ladies not having vagina opening?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
so
it's
many
false,
crazy.
no. Yes, they do.
Yes.
They do surgery for that. Really.
And you go to the marriage.
Right?
So I don't know what the miracle that's supposed to happen.
Maybe operation or something.
Yeah, they do
All those
surgery.
kind of-
But
But
the
they can't
spouse
do-
should be aware.
Yes.
It
of
shouldn't
such.
be like there should be a shocker.
But
You
really-
really-
you
they
understand?
should be aware
guys,
of their
really
sexuality.
guys, we go into this whole impotency talk alone, and why people do not talk. We're not going to this place. It's a
Yeah,
broad-
there's a lot of
There's
things.
a lot of
There are
things.
quite a number of things that sometimes people don't even know. Although that is surprising, but it's still realistic. Now, when we talk about sexual compatibility, that's the primary thing.
Mhm.
But another thing is we look at is what are we talking about in sexual compatibility? Are we talking about the sexual drive, the libido, or what are we talking about? The interest. Because that is one of the
That's
challenges
another
people have.
angle.
As to- yes.
Then, for instance, the husband has a high sexual
Yeah,
drive, the
right.
libido, and the wife has a low one.
Or not
Now,
sure.
how can we? What the question is saying, and how can I know whether we will be sexually compatible? Really, you can't know. That's the truth. You can't know for a certainty. The only thing you can know whether he's interested or not. But I believe that a man that is interested in getting married must be interested in sex. A woman that is interested in getting married must be interested in sex. So it boils down to getting the right counsel. Take for instance, if my libido is high, there are things that can be worked on. There are things that you can really work on. If you know that this is an obligation in marriage to make my marriage work. So really, I believe that sexual compatibility, you can't know. Even if you test, you start having sex before marriage, you can't still know.
Just to know.
Because even people that have been married for years, they have not even reached that compatibility. They are still working on it. Take for instance, one wants to have it every day of the week, and one is saying, "No, I'm tired. I can't be having it every day, or is it food?" and things like that. So the point is, we can't still get there. So there's no point trying to test, experiment. So the thing is, trust God that the husband is all about understanding. It is selflessness. Marriage is all about selflessness. If I know that my wife needs sex, even when I'm tired, although there are times I'm tired or she's tired and she tells me sincerely and I tell her sincerely, that's the point. But there are times I will compromise. Even when we are tired, I know that, oh, my wife needs this. So I have to just bring myself into it. And there are times that she's obviously tired, especially during pregnancy period. But she knows that, oh, my husband needs this, and she has to compromise. So it's all about compromise and understanding how we can work together in a marriage institution. It's not about testing, it's not about trying to test around. Even if you try to test around, you can still get it. Because really, the Bible says stolen meat is sweeter.
Exactly.
You get it,
The excitement of doing something wrong.
Wrong. There's something.
So
There's
you
a
can
trigger
think the
that
guy
comes-
or the girl is he has high libido, but it's just about the assignment of
Excitement of
doing
doing
something
fast.
wrong. You get what I mean? So when you are every little time, you want to
Just-
quickly do it. Everybody's like,
And it's always sweet.
and there's no sense of responsibility.
Possibility.
If you get
No,
the drift,
you want
so
to buy the
there's no
best.
sense of responsibility that can make you know whether this person is ready, is you are compatible or not. Because
you have
when
to be
marriage sets in,
observant.
responsibility comes on you automatically, whether you like it or not.
The other part is chop and go.
Exactly.
chop
Now,
and go.
chop for fast.
Chop and go, chap chap. It's not. There's no string attached.
Okay, so that means understanding is key.
Yeah.
Understanding is key,
Yeah.
and I believe
Get
communication.
the right
Should.
knowledge. Get the right
Openness.
knowledge. The guy, make sure that the guy you are dating, the girl you are dating, they have the right knowledge about sex, and they should know their obligation
Okay, so
to one another.
speaking about, okay, this is not a question here, Jara, but it was triggered by what you said. Knowledge. I realized that we go to school to learn so many things, but we're not taught about sex. We're not taught about marriage. We're not.
Right?
I mean,
and
it's
even in
just-
church, growing up as kids.
Church. Let us pray.
So in church, they tell you stay away from it. At home, they tell you stay away from it. Well, quite alright, fine. But why? They don't tell you why. They don't tell you. The only why they give you is as the lady now, so you don't get pregnant.
Yeah.
And those are not clear reasons.
Yeah.
As individuals, we want to you need to talk to me like I have sense and say, okay, these are the pros, these are the cons, this is what you must be ready, you must be responsible.
Yeah.
Those kind of things are what to trigger in your
Do you
mind.
know that
And
there are other things
You know,
that are even
sometimes
worse
I
than
wonder why
pregnancy?
it's so hidden.
HIV.
yes.
You know, sometimes I wonder why it's so hidden when it's all over the
Open.
screen. It's everywhere. You put on your phone, it's there.
there.
On TV, it's there. Wherever you go to in class, it is there. You get. So I wonder why they hide this thing so much. And you said in the Bible too. You know, when I was growing up, we used to read King James version. Next thing we hear is, and Adam knew.
Knew.
that-
New. It is the word new. New.
You know, one day we were having our family devotion, and okay, my dad was reading, and no, I was asked to read, and I kept reading new. And when I finished, the first question was, Daddy, what is new?
New.
And my dad,
Confusion.
I saw my mom does sort of change.
The position will change.
Seriously, like, why do we hide these things?
Yeah, I believe sex is one of the most controversial subjects, really, when we talk about relationship and marriage. But it's so unfortunate that over the years, the church have not really been bold enough to talk about it. And most of the things we see on our screens, they are the perverted dimension of sex.
Yeah.
So it has affected a lot of Christian marriages. And you will know, because people are also shy to talk about it.
It's like open silence. I don't even know how.
People are suffering their sexual life and they can't talk
They
about
can't
it.
talk about it.
Because it is a privacy thing and people don't know who to trust to divulge those things to.
Yes.
So it is very important for us to say it and to say it in a balanced way. You know, sex is not dirty like it is portrayed. Sex is not a sin
It's not
like it is
sacred.
portrayed. Sex is godly. God
It's
originated
sacred.
sex. Just like everything that God made, the devil tried to pervert it. So it just the same way with sex. God originated it is beautiful. Bible says they were both naked and they were not ashamed. So it is right time. A lot of this intimacy that I've been doing so far. Sometimes I want to say some things. I'll be like, okay. It takes enough courage actually. Because we want people to look at you,
You
who
are
want
like-
to
Because of societal
to
thinking about
crucify
certain
you and
things,
say,
yes.
why will you be saying this on? But it is everywhere.
It's everywhere. Like, everywhere.
If you
It's
don't
cheap.
teach them,
It's everywhere.
yes, if you don't teach them the right way, they learn it the wrong way.
The point is that the funniest thing is a parent shies away from talking to sex from a 12-year-old child, but you can give the child a smartphone. Is that
Where you see things
Right.
popping
The
up.
child will
Right,
see
is it not?
They
Of
pop
course,
up.
it will pop up.
You don't
I
know
don't know how those things pop
Yeah,
up. You
I'm
just
telling
pop up
you, they just
naturally.
fall.
Children are
Yes.
actually very curious.
Inquisitive,
Yes.
very
Very
inquisitive.
curious.
children these days?
So
And they are very smart.
They learn the wrong way.
They
When
learn
you need to call pennies, you are calling it this thing.
You know,
This is this thing.
kidney. You're right, it's kidney. They call it kidney.
Eh,
Cover your kidney. Ah, fun now.
Yeah, you carry when you tell a lady, oh, don't let a guy touch you, you get pregnant. Now,
But they've been touching me. My daddy has held my hand and they are telling me.
There's even a story of a lady, a friend of mine. I went to boarding house, and by the time I came back, we had this chemist shop, and she came to me and she was seriously crying. Well, I need drug that can abort GS1.
What?
Drug that can abort.
Abort.
Just as one.
I didn't
GS1.
even know about that one.
I was in, it wasn't GS1, yeah, it was GS9. I went to boarding house. Me, I'm kind of,
Wow, just
and
one.
she was
I
crying.
didn't hear
I
until
was
like
like,
university.
Oh, really? I'm
Okay,
better.
did I just disgrace myself
I'm
outside?
so better. I was about to say I feel embarrassed because I didn't even know what sex was until I think I was in JSS3. She
Yes,
said
yes,
university are better, guys.
No,
Give me
wait, I
that.
do. No. What I said was
The
about
abortion.
abortion and
Yeah.
the
And
pills
and she
and all
was,
that.
she was seriously crying. And I was like, Toyi, how did you get pregnant? Imagine 10 years old. I can imagine the conversation we had. And she was like, he touched me. And after he touched you, what happened? And he touched me. Some of the thing was, the guy just touched them. And because the mom has been saying,
If a guy
he touches you, you will get. Imagine I'm that stupid because there are a lot of things they
It just makes a whole lot of nonsense.
it's just she was crying seriously. It was for you to know that parents are not helping. And imagine she met with the wrong person, she took touches otiloyun like shalogo.
And that's how people get wrong information.
Definitely.
A lot of, I heard something somewhere. I can't remember who told me the story that I think the mother was saying, don't let a guy touch your lap, or don't let him put his hand on your lap. And the guy said, I won't put my hand on your lap. I was like, what? But men are not nice. Men are
Don't worry, I will not touch.
When a man wants what he wants,
But it's so unfair.
he does. He just wants it.
Definitely.
And he will do anything.
And what you said is
Except if you're smart.
And they take it word for word.
Word for word.
Don't touch. My mommy said, you shouldn't touch
Don't
my
worry,
lap.
I will only touch the
I won't touch the lap. It's the lap that is the problem.
You know, there are some people like, okay, is it sex? Okay, don't enter, but you can pass through the border.
The heck you see?
So they have
You have you had anal sex. You don't have
That's another dimension.
another direction of okay, don't enter.
Okay.
Don't let's go.
Okay, now
let's
that brings us. Thank God you said that because that
Mhm.
brings us to our
Next question.
I'm going to have to match two questions, which seems very similar. One says, "Am I still a virgin if I only had oral sex?" And the other one says, "I am a technical virgin, and I feel like it's affecting me, and I don't know how to stop it in my relationships since I started." So I'm just going to match the two now. Technical virgin, technical.
Yeah.
But I want to believe it's the same thing as having oral sex, not the main thing. No, so is she or is he, because we don't know who said this, still a virgin?
And how can she stop it?
Mhm.
She doesn't know how to.
Okay.
He or she stop it.
We need to understand something. When we talk about virginity, we talk about really vaginal abstinence, really. That is, you have not had vaginal intercourse. And if that is what we are talking about, then she's still a virgin. because the place is still secure.
The amen is the broken.
Yes.
But when we're talking about virginity as far as God is concerned, when we're talking about sexual purity, then the person is no longer pure sexually. You get what I'm trying to say? So sexual purity is meant from the word virginity, like the word portrayed. Because I attended a French wedding and some guys were talking. He said, that babe. That babe, you can't do the vaginal thing. Once you want to have sex, that you just turn her back. So,
My goodness.
so she
She's
believes,
keeping it.
yeah. So she believes that anal sex is not
It's not.
doesn't violate her virginity. So she just do anal sex. That's what she does. So in that way, she has this mindset that she's still a virgin. So when they are calling her virgin, she'll say, I'm a virgin.
Technically.
Technically. So that's the word technical. Kind of us we are actually technical. We're actually technical. Anyway, you are not married, but most likely you are still technical.
But a lot of people,
A lot. Even myself.
Based on what is, they say what is virginity? Penetration. They've not penetrated.
So for instance, even myself, I'm married as a technical virgin. No. We don't need to paint the picture as if we're saints or we are Holy Spirit when we were born. No, I wasn't Holy Spirit. In fact, I was far from Holy Spirit. But really, I was a technical virgin because I had this mindset that I shouldn't violate myself sexually before marriage. I have that mindset really. So I didn't even do the dating thing. I don't have girlfriends. When I approach you, it's to marry. But that does not mean that we didn't do quite a number of things. The kissing, the smooshing, you get it now, and the touching of breast and other things. Not both of us. We had a pure courtship. But I'm saying that it wasn't that I didn't do those things before I got engaged to my wife. You get why I met my wife and we started courting. During our courtship, we had a pure sexual life. No all those things, no kissing. In fact, no kissing.
No,
So,
when I said no hugging,
but before then, no.
Before then,
I shouldn't say myself. I did the kissing thing. In fact, there were moments that I was saying earlier, that determination is the first thing. But there are moments that you are almost crossing over. I reached that moment, I was almost crossing over. But only the grace of God that brought me back. Even after the thing ended, I knew, this can be the grace. Because my will was already down. You get it? My will not to have it was already gone. The new will was to have it.
Let's just have it.
It doesn't read meter.
Especially for a card.
Yeah.
But really, technical virgin, what the question is asking, how can I stop it?
Yes.
You just, what I said earlier, determine to stop. If your partner is already enjoying it, because a lot of time it's difficult for us to stop when we have started. Really.
Is what you have not started.
If your partner is already enjoying it, yes, because your partner might feel maybe you are just trying. It's a way for you to discard him or her. That's why you are saying you should stop. You get what I'm trying to say, but you must take a bold step. That we have to stop this or get out of this situation.
Yes.
So,
And I think that oftentimes when sex is already involved, it sort of clouds your judgment.
Definitely.
no, sex
That's
and
what I
common
say.
sex doesn't
It
work.
does not work. Sex,
Because
common sex.
No.
It does not
They
work.
are not compatible.
Because I feel like the enjoyment makes you feel like I like this person.
No,
this person is the
it
best.
makes you feel like everything is okay. There's this feeling of
You're on cloud nine.
Okay, that's why a lot of people, when they fight, they'll just end it in the bedroom.
Cloud nine.
out.
You know what is not like cloud nine? You are not thinking.
And then they leave unsettled matters.
Unsettled matters, yeah.
and they just settle it up with sex, and they'll still go back to the same
problems.
issues. And that's why you see it's the trend. You just keep on. People in abusive relationship, they will go back. The sex is good. it boils down to it's clout.
It's just like you are feeling traumatic and you are using alcohol
Take
Yes.
to check it.
to take it.
It just clears your head
The
for
thing will clear
for a
a
few-
short period.
Uh,
Once-
and when you
When
think
you're
wears
sober-
off, reality is
No.
Mhm.
So that's how sex works.
Okay, so determination is key.
Yeah, it's key.
But actually, I also feel like, okay, but you've already said it. If you're not going to be determined with me, you're
Yeah.
going to have to end this.
Yes, we have to use it.
Yes.
Or it's a tough decision.
It's a tough
Very
one.
tough. That's part of determination.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, to the next question. How can I handle hormonal pressure and peer pressure?
The question again.
How can I handle hormonal pressures? That's the body. I mean, there's
Yeah.
testosterone and what do they call it?
Yeah.
And you know those urges, and their friends are like, you've not done. Hey, oh, Jassy.
Oh,
All those
Jassy,
kind
oh.
of things. So
And it's as bad as even if you're a virgin in today's world, you are ashamed to say.
Yeah,
yes,
to say
also
it.
just keep it to yourself, you and your God.
God, oh.
Because
Okay. The hormonal parts, one of the mistakes our parents made or the society made is when we were growing up, they forgot to tell us that you feel the urge.
that's true.
So when you start feeling like shape or shame, like there's something wrong with you. Now, by the time you now start experimenting, that will be the issue. But one thing is, it is normal. Everybody should just feel like it is normal. If you are not experiencing the urge,
And there's a problem.
there is a problem. That's the truth. It is normal. And that's what we should tell people, tell the children. It is normal for you to feel it. But the ability for you to control it, put it under the
check.
brain, check on check, that is what matters. Then about the pressure on the peer pressure thing, it is also normal. We are in a society this society.
Today's society.
They don't even need to come close to you to say it.
Today's society is even.
It's tougher.
It's tougher.
It is
It's
tougher.
beyond the peer pressure or hormonal pressure. Now the media is pressurizing.
Exactly.
And it's not just it's not that's done from being a pressure to a sort of stigmatization.
Stigmatization,
It's
that's
it's
Then
Yeah.
Because you can't even do selective exposure as such, because you can't even sit down and watch TV because you cannot determine what would
the
pop
ne-
up.
yeah, the
So
next
you are
thing.
walking on the streets, you're already seeing it. Everybody, people are just
It's
I
not
know.
like it's normal. It is the
Yes.
new normal.
the new. No, I mean, me, I choose to call it it's usual. It's because it's usual doesn't make it normal.
It's like it's just
It's abnormal, but it has not become the norm.
the norm.
You know, in the last generation of years ago, virginity used to be the thing of the pride.
It's not.
No, people feel like they have a problem.
People that have lost their virginity, they are shy. They can't say it.
Mhm.
But now, it
They're
is those
not.
that are virgins.
They'll be
They are
hiding.
now shy.
And now,
You know why? Because it looks like,
Jassy,
you get it now. You are not mature.
you are not mature.
You are not
Like
grown
you
up.
are
You
not
are
grown
not.
up.
You are not.
You don't know
Just
what's
reminds
happening.
me- What he said just reminded me of those days when they say, "Oh, you're ready, mate." They will spread a white cloth on the bed.
You see
and then
the
they have to
blood.
bring the clothes stained to the people
Your
outside.
parents, yeah.
Today, never mash up with that.
Yeah, I'm not done with.
And there, it will come out white.
No, you have some white t-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
White
the color will
t-shirt.
change.
The
but
color will change.
be too
Yeah.
far,
not
white
the
t-shirt.
red.
Oh my goodness.
Really, it's a messed up
So
society.
it's
But I want
boils
to
down
say something. You should affirm it more. That virginity, sexual purity is a thing of pride.
Right.
You shouldn't use
It's
that
huge
pride.
thing. I think it's still a thing of pride. No matter how people try to shove it
Yeah,
aside,
come
deep down,
Yeah.
I feel like deep down,
You know, Pastor Kinsley said something, if you know.
yeah.
Now, he said something that those who are non-virgins, those who are virgins should not be shy of saying they are virgins, because those who are non-virgins, they can't become virgins again. So it's a thing that they have lost that they can't
Can
gain.
gain.
But you are virgin, you still have something that you can hold on to. But at the same time, you shouldn't be a virgin and a foolish virgin.
Virgin.
So some people, the only thing you have is
some
virginity.
people-
That's the only value that they have.
I'm telling you.
And they make it seem like so because it makes you extra
So
special.
they believe that they should get a special guy because they are
Yes.
virgins. Like,
They
yes,
should not have
no,
character
no,
because
no.
they're virgins.
You should build
Like,
I'm
character.
not
Yes.
entitled to a good guy
Because of
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
you're not.
that's
You're
mentality.
not.
That's another
yes,
that's
another
another
problem.
problem.
You
That's
keep your
another
the thing is, we have not been taught that virginity is not just
Self-pride.
for God.
It's for yourself.
It's for you. It keeps
You.
your emotional sanity. It keeps your psychological sanity. Because there are a lot of psychological effects and emotional effects of sex before marriage. Take for
tried
instance,
lots of
if you have
things.
tried a lot of people and you get married, you be comparing
Comparing.
the sexual life of that you used to have with your husband. So if your husband is not up to it, then you have put yourself under psychological pressures, emotional pressures, and things like that. So there's a lot of things that will benefit from it when we keep ourselves, apart from the fact that God is happy.
Yeah, and I also feel that parents should talk to their children about it, like make them confident in themselves. Because I mean, I don't know how lucky I was growing up that I was shy. Yes, I had some level of inferiority complex, but there's some things you cannot tell me. I'll say I chose to. It's not by force.
Yes.
I chose to be like this.
Yes.
And because you people are like this, it doesn't make me less of a human being.
Yes.
So if we instill those things in children, or even as
absolutely.
if someone that has maybe those pressures and all that, if you have people around you that you can speak to, that okay, if we're in the same circle or something, or you look inward and you find out that there's actually nothing wrong with me. It's easier for you to stand your ground. That's why people just respect it. Let's leave a jare or leave him jare. That's how we choose it to be. So if that confidence is there, I feel like
that confidence
doesn't
matter.
matter.
Is important.
Especially in this today's world, media everywhere.
And we should parents should not just tell them don't do it. Tell them
Why?
Explain
Why?
to them.
Why?
Explain the
They're
benefits
curious. They will
and the
find that why.
consequences.
Why?
Yes, explain it. Not to make them afraid, but to make them have the right knowledge and make the right choices.
Informed decisions.
All right, in case you just joining us, please talk English.
You're lost. You're already lost. I saw her nodding and she was lost. Talk show with Elijah.
Sorry.
Oh my goodness.
All right, in case you're just joining us, please talk show with Elijah. And yes, we'll be talking about various issues that goes in sex, intimacy, as well as premarital stages. This thing. We're going on a very short break now. When we come back, we still have many more questions to cover. It's still talk show with Elijah. And of course, we've been talking about so many issues, so many questions have been answered as regards sex. Well, sometimes when I want to say sex and say singles, it feels like I'm saying nonsense. Actually, because of course we do not preach sex before marriage. But then that was the first episode of the program. The next set of questions will be answered on the next episode. Bye.